Hello, my YouTube friends. This is your old pal, Brian. There's so much for me to talk about. So much, so many topics I want to talk about, and it was like overwhelming. I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna throw myself into it and just do it. If it comes out all messy and not perfect, then of course that doesn't matter. So that is my intention. That is what I'm going to do. And my intention for this is, since I moved from New York, I'm retired now in Texas. I couldn't be happier, and I want to, I don't know, figure out a way how to do something that's funny. I hope. But the old adage is, if you try to be funny, you're not going to be funny. I need to let all of that go and just do it. So one thing I definitely want to talk about is smoking and how I stopped smoking 3 years ago, I would say. It was 2018 in March. I mean, I've been smoking since I'm 14 years old, maybe even before. Maybe every day smoking, 14 years old. I tried to quit numerous occasions, more times than I could care to count. I couldn't count. It was several times a year that I would try to stop. And I would stop for, a day. I would stop for 3 days. I would stop for a week. I would stop for a month. And then I would stop for a day. I mean, and then I would smoke and smoke and smoke and get all angry at myself. And I read tons and tons of books. I don't have it here in front of me, but somehow I will get the name. Boom. The Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr was a huge, huge help. I read it and reread it and reread it and reread it. And the first time I read it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to stop. I can't wait to stop. And then it said, don't, just finish the book and then read it. And I finished it and I stopped smoking. And then 3 weeks later, I went back. Like, nothing seemed to cement the need to stop smoking. And it was awful. It is such an addiction. And I thought, all right, I'm going to spend the rest of my life a smoker. There's nothing I can do about it. I will just smoke the rest of my life. But then, then it started to get bad. Like, I would get sick with a cold, and then my throat would be so raw, and I couldn't smoke. So then I went down to, a lighter brand. So I knew it was time to smoke because I couldn't stand being smelly. I couldn't stand being close to people and knowing that I reeked of cigarette smoke, and I hated that. And I always tried to hide it, but as a smoker, you never really hide it. But in my mind, I think that I was a little bit conscientious of the people around me. Like, I was trying to think, you couldn't find one picture. I defy anyone out there right now to find one picture of me smoking, because I hid it well. People knew I smoked, of course, but I was like embarrassed by it. In other words, for 40 plus years, I was embarrassed by it. So that should tell you something right away, how terrible smoking is. So what finally made me quit was 3 years ago. It was Oscar night, and I was like up and down we're having people over, and I was up and down the stairs, and I was like so out of breath. And I had quit, because Brian and I were just becoming an item, and he didn't smoke, and he would always say, oh, it doesn't matter, it's fine. But I knew, he didn't want me to smoke. And I know you shouldn't quit for other people, but I was really quitting for me because I was so conscientious of being around people. I didn't want to be smelling like smoke anymore, and it was really time. Up and down the stairs, I was so out of breath. I said, all right, this is it. And, I was saying before, I had quit, weeks ago, before that, a month before that, for a couple of days. So it was all building up to this point. And all the time, anytime I had trouble or struggles, I would take out that book, Easy Way to Quit Smoking, and read a passage here or there. It was like a Bible sort of, because it gave you confidence and everything. Now Oscar night comes and I throw my cigarettes away. That was it. I was determined not to smoke again. And I went 3 days. Brian was staying with me. I was still in New York. He was staying with me, and I'm sure I told him. I know. Yes, I did tell him, and he was extremely supportive. And I went, 3 days, and I said, all right. I decided, if I'm going to smoke again, because if anybody has stopped smoking, you know what it's like. If I'm gonna smoke, I'm not gonna smoke a cigarette. I'm gonna light up. I'm gonna get a vape. And I was vaping, trying to quit, before that. So I was used to that, and I had some vapes around me. And I said, all right, I will just vape. I will not smoke a cigarette. I will just vape. And so after like 3 days, I had the vape with me, and I used the vape, and it took away the cravings and the urges. And I thought, wow. This is it. It's taking care of my nicotine addiction, and it wasn't making me smell. And I thought, that is the answer. I'll just vape from now on. So little by little, I used the vape, and I never picked up a cigarette again, and I was so happy. I really thought I had the answer. And then, then I would notice that after using the vape for, say, like a month or so, my heart would start pounding. And then I looked, and it was 5% nicotine. So I went down to 3%, and that seemed to be better. But that was drawing harder on the vape. So it's like everything was telling me what I should do, and I just wasn't seeing it. But in my mind, I thought I found the answer to stop smoking, and that was vaping. And so I did. Long story short, I vaped for 2 years, and I noticed that I was getting more and more out of breath. And that part wasn't helping me, because I was still sucking things into my lungs. So then, fast forward to, I had moved to Texas, still vaping, not smoking. I haven't smoked since March of 2018, or a cigarette. So now I moved to Texas. It's 2019, and it's good. We get married, legally married. We buy a house. This house, we get a dog who's somewhere. She's usually right in the dog bed next to me, but she's not there now. She must be out in the living room. So we're married, we're in the house, we have the dog. I'm still vaping. It's the end of 2019, and I'm still vaping, and going about my business. And I am so happy, that I'm not smelling, and I really thought I had the answer. But little by little, it's creeping into my head, saying that vaping may be not the answer. Then comes 2020, and the pandemic, COVID, enters all our lives. Still trying to be careful, still trying to be smart, and all of a sudden I noticed in July I got the virus. So, I forgot another part. Prior to that, a month before that, in May, so May, a year ago, I decided to quit vaping. And again, same thing with cigarettes. Months before that, I tried to stop vaping, and I read the book, I got the patch, all that stuff, and I always went back because my mind was not ready yet. So now, fast forward to say May of 2020. I don't have the virus yet, but I decided to stop vaping. So I got the book, I got the patch, and I heard on one of those YouTube channels. I will link a description of his page, who was extremely helpful. He talks about stacking, the different means that you can use to stop smoking. So what I did was I used the patch and the lozenge, and I used the book. The book tells you not to do any of those things. You don't need it. You don't need the nicotine. You need to just end it right away. But I tried that for years and years and years, and it wasn't working. What I did was I used the patch and the lozenge. The lozenge was a big help. I got the 4% one, and it was like, oh, that's even too much. And my plan was to go down to the 2%, but I never got there, and I'll tell you why. Because now all of a sudden, now fast forward, I'm not smoking in May, in June, and now it's the beginning of July. So now I'm over a month of being vape free, but I'm not nicotine free because I still am using the patch and I'm still using the lozenge. Now I want to be nicotine free. So that was my goal. So now coming into July of 2020, I'm not feeling well, and what are your symptoms? And I told them, and I said, oh, we'll schedule you for a COVID test. I had the test, and it came back, I was positive. So that was like in the beginning of July, say 5th or 6th. And all of a sudden, since then, I went up to bed, I quarantined myself upstairs, away from him, and I was probably sick, probably maybe 4 or 5 days, where I was upstairs and not really eating, but forcing myself to eat. And then I realized, I was delusional. I don't know if anybody has ever gone through COVID and been sick with it. All the symptoms are so different, but with me, I was like delusional. I was trying to explain what I was feeling, and I couldn't find the words, and I was saying, but it's so simple, and I can't explain it, and even now I can't explain it, so I don't know what that was, but I think COVID affects everyone differently. So in the midst of being sick, I realized when I started to feel better, I started to realize I haven't been using the patch, and I haven't been using the lozenge. So now I'm 5 days nicotine free. I was totally without the patch and totally without, because I was so weak. I had to go, I was upstairs in the bedroom. I don't think I came down at all. And I realized that, all right, if I can go 5 days without nicotine, I'm not going to put it back in my body. I will just quit. So from that point forward, it was probably July 9th, maybe. It would be a year of nicotine free. I realized that I was nicotine free. So I said, all right, that needed to happen for me never to smoke again. And that's how I feel now. Like, I know I will never pick up a cigarette again, even though there are times during the day, and it happens every day, that I say, oh, I'm gonna go sit down outside and smoke. And I thought, oh wait, I don't do that anymore. And it may linger, and I'm thinking about it. And then I go on to something else and it's gone. It's gone like that. So anybody out there who's struggling in the beginning of their quit, it gets so much easier. It may never leave you, and that's fine. Accept that. You need to figure out a way to accept that it's never going to leave you. You will always think of it, but maybe not. But I'm saying with me, I think of it every day. But it's a fleeting thought, and I know I'm not going to act on it. And it would be like, it's more of a feeling like, oh, I can't smoke. But then I thought, oh wait, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to put that nonsense in my lungs anymore, because it was making me so out of breath. So in the course of not smoking, I say to myself, I will eat anything I want. I will not try to diet. I will just indulge with anything I want, just to get over the initial cravings of smoking. And I don't know really how long that took. I didn't really keep a journal of that. But let's say July, August, September, not doing anything. September, we're still in the midst of the coronavirus. October, November, December, January. Now it's into the new year. Everyone's happy, 2021. But I'm noticing now, it's like, I've gained so much weight. I've gained I went from like probably 265 to 315. So what is that? 35, 40, that's 50 pounds I gained from not smoking. And I say, all right, now the time has come where I need to stop indulging myself and eating anything I want just to curb these cigarette cravings, and really focus now on trying to lose all this weight. 50 pounds. And I've seen videos of myself and I can hear myself struggling to breathe. It's like the open mouth breathing now because I'm so heavy and I know my neck is so constricted. I just need to lose the weight. So that was probably a couple months ago. I would say maybe 3 months ago, where I decided, all right, now I really need to buckle down and not smoke anymore. How far have I come? I bought Nutrisystem for Men. We spent over $700 on the food for 2 months. They get you with the 50% off offer, but it still works out to $730 or whatever it was. It was a lot of money for 2 months worth of food. And I did the first week and I lost like 15 pounds and I thought, oh wow, this is great. And I started to feel better. I started to sleep better because my sleep has been terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Everyone with COVID stress, we need to figure out a way to de-stress because the sleep is awful. And only now my sleep is getting better. But I need to focus now on losing weight. So I did the first week of Nutrisystem and I thought, oh, I got this made. And I was going to cancel the second month of food and just do my own. But of course I didn't, and we had to pay for it. So now we have $700 worth of food, and I'm really not using the diet. I'm maybe doing it for breakfast and lunch, but we're going out to dinner. And the first week I was great. No going out to dinner, and I only ate their food, and I really did lose 15 pounds in a week. So if you really stick to it, you can lose weight. But the problem is I didn't stick to it. After the first week, I started, eating my own food. And then the weight, the 15 pounds I gained came right back. So now my heaviest I've ever been was 320. Right now I am at 313. So I still need to lose a serious amount of weight. And we have the Nutrisystem food. So you know what? The food is still good. I'm still going to just eat less. I've done it before. I've lost weight before. And the way I do it is move more and eat less and drink more water. So that is my plan. What I'm happy about is I'm not vaping anymore. And I've already acknowledged the fact that I will be thinking of that probably every day. I'm sure it'll get less and less. It's only been a year. But when I do think of it, I probably think of it now, I want to say maybe 3 times a day. And it's never awful. It's always like, oh, it would be nice to go outside and smoke. But then I thought, no, I won't do that. And then I go and get a cold drink of water, or pop, like eat something. And then I realized, all right, I can't just eat all day long because that's how this 50 pounds got on top of me. So that's what I'm gonna do. My plan is to lose weight, exercise more, eat healthier, and I will keep you up to date as the progress happens, all right? I will check back another time, all right? See you later.